I haven't got my xylophone again. You'll have to imagine it.
Just do it out. Go on.
Breaking Cody Rhodes news everywhere.
Yeah.
Cody news. So, Cody's the talk of the industry.
Just a little bit.
That's what you always wanted.
Yeah.
So we have more details.
It's like Christmas morning.
It is, isn't it? It really, really is. We have more details on the story that broke yesterday about Cody Rhodes departing AEW with a WWE return on the cards. So, the reason behind Cody Rhodes leaving AEW, it was all about the money.
Well.
Surprising?
Well.
Let's get into it.
Well. Juicy gossip now.
It's all about
spill it.
10 monies. Let's spill some tea all over the shop. Andrew Zarian said when it came to Cody Rhodes' departure from AEW, there was a major contract dispute. They could not come to terms on an agreement. There was a big mismatch as far as the financials go between AEW and Cody. Dave Meltzer corroborates this, saying the two sides didn't come to terms on a new deal after 6 weeks. There's a lot more to read into this, but he could legally be on WWE TV at any time. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that the money is the issue, but more a status symbol for AEW with Cody. As Wade Keller says in PW Torch, he says, Cody wanted to be a superstar, and AEW signing big money contracts, especially with Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, changed the dynamic. Cody knew, and Tony knew, that Cody had become inexpendable. Cody was no longer a top paid guy, but it's complicated, and there's not a single factor that plays into this, because Cody might have been worth it if he weren't getting booed and wasn't the subject of ridicule online and in buildings and frankly behind the scenes in various ways. Do you remember? I mean, obviously we do the classic Nitro review, and there was always this thing with the WCW guys near the end where the top guys would have like a pay cap clause.
They had favoured nations clause, which was if anybody gets paid more than me, then I get paid the same as them.
And I kind of feel like there was a desire for something of that ilk.
I see. No, favoured nations clauses are very malicious. It feels almost like. I don't know, because when we look at the start of AEW, Cody obviously very quickly takes himself out of main title contention. He very quickly says, I can no longer challenge for that belt. And, everybody around him must have had maybe, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And then slowly as that all starts to shift, and slowly as Tony Khan's, becoming more prominent on TV, and as, bigger names are coming to and from the company, then maybe it could have been a situation where it's a bit like, am I kind of stuck in this slot that I've built for myself when we were all on the same page?
Made a rod for your own Jane and Freddie, really.
You kind of made your own rod and bed and lie in it for your back.
Basically is what happened there. So there's money, there's status, and there's also talk of a fallout between Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes. TMZ reporting that sources say there was indeed some disagreement between Cody and Tony. Khan's visibility within the company has grown, and of course Cody, who served as executive VP, was pretty much the OG face of AEW when it debuted in 2019, and that has changed, as well as the presentation in front of camera with guys like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson coming in, as behind the camera has changed also, with Tony Khan assuming more of a role and telling the world about it. Andrew Zarian adds to the TMZ story, saying showing there was tension between Cody and Tony. Quote, somebody sent me a link to a Forbes article and said, this really upsets certain people, especially Cody. I don't know if it's 100% true, but this kind of plays into everything. It was the profile they did on Tony, and Tony started off by pretty much listing, I'm the GM, I'm the booker, I'm the this, I'm the that, essentially saying that he is a one-man show. And this might have got in Cody's craw a little bit.
Possibly, we know that wrestlers are very particular about how the endeavors such as a promotion are seen from the outside, and it's something that's often very criticized about WWE is that it's a one-man show, like you're performing for an audience of one there, but it's. There's a lot of factors at play here, and there's a lot of rumour, there's a lot of speculation. I mean, the fact that Cody could be on WWE TV at any time is huge. I think it makes the most sense if he is going to go to WWE for him to turn up as soon as this week. Because, how else can they kind of stick it to Tony Khan extra hard as WWE, right? Well, you don't have non-compete, and you don't have this, and I've got all this money, and I've just bought away an EVP, and now he's on my TV straight away. And that's what I'm kind of thinking. If it is indeed going to be a WWE stint for Cody, I think that's what's coming this week.
Well, it's funny that you say all that because Fightful have added, we've not heard of any non-compete attached to the EVP separation, but Cody's deal expired at the end of December.
Wow.
So Rhodes' team has spoken with WWE, who were aware that an AEW departure announcement was coming. They knew probably about maybe 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more before the announcement came down. Andrew Zarian gives some news via his sources of the backstage reaction to Cody's departure, saying the WWE guys waving their WWE flag in victory with this. I was very shocked at the reaction this was getting from that side. I've never seen a celebration of sorts with someone who has not signed yet. So they see this as a win.
Yeah.
I was told multiple times that optics-wise this looks bad for AEW and this looks great for WWE, especially with the fact that not only was he an on-air top talent, as you said, Sam, he's an AEVP, one of the founders, and conceptualised the whole idea. And in terms of when he appears as well is an interesting one too.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that could be going on, and it could be as soon as this week, or it could be, as a lot of people are speculating, WrestleMania.
That's what Wade Keller is saying at PW Torch. He says, I fully expect Cody to be on WrestleMania either as a wrestler or making his first appearance. I don't know if they can hold on putting him on TV. I could even see him appearing on Raw or SmackDown next week. I wouldn't be shocked if there's even some augmentation to the booking plans for WrestleMania, perhaps related to the Elimination Chamber, in order to set the stage for Cody to do something really big at Mania.
I think, when you look at it from even the prior story we just talked about there, where, WWE have got the banners out and they're really seeing this as a victory, it kind of is.
Oh, yeah.
As we know, Vince has been, downsizing the company to the point where they're releasing and cutting coldly all of these talents, but that has given them a wealth of money. It's given them, an ability to make an offer like this if indeed Cody is WWE bound. This is huge. So and Mania's a no-brainer. If Cody's coming back, Cody's going to receive a sustained push for a little bit, I think.
For a little bit.
I think it'll be, very much a 1 year window, and I think very quickly it might sort of get a bit shaky, but it's sort of becomes at this point, Cody's the first crack in the dam, right? So if Cody jumps ship, because the offer's there, and is there grounds for anybody else to jump ship? But then at the same time, you've got people jumping from WWE to AEW, so it's about to get really, really heated potentially. We could be seeing a lot of people going back and forth. We could be seeing, Monday Night Wars levels of defection.
It's interesting when you talk about the push that he potentially receive, and Wade Keller at PW Torch said that there's two schools of thought here. Obviously, Vince sees seen Cody previously as a mid-card talent. And there would be potentially a push. And also, the idea that Vince McMahon has kind of applauded the entrepreneurial spirit of guys like Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff and Jeff Jarrett, and given them roles on television, whether he would be the same with Cody. But let's not lose sight of the fact that when WWF bought WCW, there was a lot of love and support for the entrepreneurial spirit, but they made sure to let the world know that WCW was inferior. I think if Cody is coming back, he will be in a major program. He ain't winning it.
I think the thing right now is that Vince and WWE are in a giant Final Fantasy style boss battle. They have the summon there ready. Cody is the summon. They can see the big chunk he's going to take out of the health bar as they're hovering over the attack. And that's as far as I can imagine WWE are just kind of focusing on, look how much health it takes out.
Yeah.
And then from there it'll be like, hey MJF, hey Chris Jericho, and they're going to start trying this dialogue maybe.
This is an interesting, rolling, breaking news story that continues to add elements attached to it, and we will let you know more.
Elements of espionage, romance.
Oh yeah, romance, drama, fresh fruit. All on your video screen or through a book. We'll let you know more throughout the day at Cultaholic.com and here on our channel as well. More news throughout the day as well at Cultaholic.com about other things. Stay safe and love you. Bye.